our current adversity will unleash the power of humans to do the extraordinary. I honestly think these pandemics we have, whether it's the equality pandemic, the COVID pandemic, are causing us to become more human and to accentuate the part of us that we want to exist to have compassion and help other people.
Hi and welcome to another episode of the peopleHum interview series. This is your host Anushka at peopleHum. peopleHum is an end-to-end, one-view integrated human capital management automation platform, the winner of the 2019 Global Cody Award for HCM that is specifically built for crafted employee experiences and the future of work. We run the peopleHum blog and video channel, which receives more than 400,000 visitors a year, and we also publish around several interviews with well-known names globally every month. We have with us today George Brooks. George was America's leader of People Advisory Services for Ernst & Young LLP and is a leading voice, keynote speaker, and advisor on the future of work, Future Work Now. This includes the impact of digital trends and other changes in the modern workplace, along with how individuals, teams, and organizations can adapt. With over 30 years of international consulting experience, George has earned a reputation as one of the foremost innovators and thought leaders in the human resources service sector. Driven by his distinctive vision, tireless work ethic, and deep commitment to people, George led the transformation of Ernst & Young's former human capital business model into a vastly modernized, more robust, and technologically savvy America's People Advisory Services practice. With a passion for exceptional client service, George and the world-class People Advisory Services team deliver cutting-edge capabilities and offerings to organizations across the globe. We're so happy and honored to have someone of his stature today on our interview series. Welcome, George. It's great to have you here today.
Well, thank you. That was a very kind introduction, and it's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you.
The pleasure is absolutely ours. So, George, diving right deep into the interview, could you tell us in a nutshell about the great work that you do as America's leader and global deputy of People Advisory Services at Ernst & Young?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So both those roles involve inspiring people. We have a unique opportunity, I think, in the history of work to put our fingerprint on the future of work. And it's been a great journey so far. And we look through a lot of different lenses to see how work is going to change. But with the recent pandemics, there's been just a massive acceleration of all the things we were thinking about, that were going to happen. And, not just that, it brought a lot of new things we weren't even thinking about. And so we had to be agile and chameleon-like to change and to help our clients think through what this means. So, my job is just that. It's just to create an environment where our people feel inspired and empowered to be innovative and creative in solving client problems, without reprisal. If we fail fast. We forgive. Forgiveness is something new, for HR and being a leader. And, we just encourage and move forward. So it's been enlightening to do that. And you mentioned technology. We found that a human combined with leading edge technology can do the impossible. I'm not too worried about technology taking over, but I am thrilled at the opportunity to elevate humans to a higher status at work, than the past. Yeah.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more with you on that. And I love the part where you said we constantly need to motivate and inspire people, especially now with remote work. I think that's really the need of the hour. So that's
a good point. I think, I've seen a lot of surveys. Many companies say they're set up and people are able to work at home, and 90% are, capable of working at home. And I think that the real question is, are you happy at home? And it's one thing to be able to work at home technically, but is there a sense of people are a bit demoralized, right? And I think we're social animals and we miss that social connectivity. So I'm seeing some great leading practices of leaders setting up phone calls, with their employees, 15-minute blocks a time where you talk about anything but work. And there's years and years of relationship development happening on those phone calls, that otherwise wouldn't have happened, right? And so I think this is a perfect opportunity to have more conversations.
Absolutely. And I think the pandemic has really pushed us to have more interpersonal touch with our employees. Otherwise, we wouldn't have really done it if it wasn't for the remote working.
Exactly. I think we did do it. We called it, the walk down the hall, the intersection at the cooler, or walking to the cafeteria. Those happened unintentionally. I think, like you said, when we make it intentional to do it, and with everyone, it's amazing how it can uplift people.
Absolutely. So that's great. And coming to the next question, George, when I was just researching about you a little, I came across a book that you wrote on how HR constantly needs to tailor their talent strategies in new and emerging markets, right? So would you like to share some of these techniques that would really come handy during pandemic times with our audience?
Yeah, so we all know that meaningful purpose is important to people, and we shouldn't put it to age bands. I think everyone wants meaningful purpose, whether it's our grandparents, our parents, myself, or younger folks. But I think another talent strategy. I mean, you have to put forward your purpose, alignment with purpose, and make decisions in your company, that are purpose aligned. That's how you activate purpose. But there's a new thing that came into being with COVID. Again, it's acceleration by COVID. It always was there. Is this concept of trust, and I think a talent strategy around trust is so important. That you are putting yourself out there and having conversations, with the community, with social media, with your employees, with your recruits, conversations about shared experiences. And with that, that's an opportunity to be transparent and authentic, with this, and to be vulnerable and to share. Using storytelling is so important right now, because as people hear stories, they're like, oh, they can put two and two together and say, hey, I can relate to that because it happened to me. So I think that's an important strategy, to not only attract people, but to keep people. The other thing I mentioned earlier is imagination, encouraging people to think in fiction. We're the only species on the planet that can think in fiction, and we all want innovation. And, speaking people that you have a past to be imaginative, and old-fashioned mechanisms that punished will be put away, and you'll give people a chance to fail fast. So I think these are new things in talent strategies, and there's one last one I'll mention is compassion. I think we have these conversations. True compassion is having empathy for people, and then taking action on it. And there's so many stories of people doing the extraordinary, to help others. And when we help others and make them happy, we become happy, and that just transforms the whole environment. So I'll stop there. But to me, a talent strategy that tries to hit on bringing humans at the center and these concepts will be a home run.
Absolutely. I love how you really summarized so many points in 3 short pointers, and that's great. In fact, I was just reading another article on employee trust, and I think employees, the way managers and leaders really interact with employees and make them feel wanted with work from home, I think employees are really going to value that further on, even if they return back to the offices. So I think it's really crucial, along with storytelling and compassion. Thoroughly agree with you.
Yes. And as you said that, it reminded me. And by the way, I read your blog on trust on your website. Yeah, it was good. So, on that, I think there's a quick pointer. There's an easy way to lose trust, right? You could do all the right things and be open. Have conversations, be transparent. But there's this omission. If you omit something, right? And there's a lot of times I'm seeing when mistrust happens, it's a result of some omission. It might be not following through, not doing what you said. It might be an omission of, hey, I made this decision, here's the 3 main reasons, but you skip reason 4 and 5 and they find out about it and it looks self-serving, and then all of a sudden all the good collapses because of an omission. I think if you're making a decision and you're thinking of omitting something or you're communicating, think twice about it.
Absolutely. Love the last part as well. So coming to the third question, George, how do you anticipate changes in the modern workplace in the future of work?
Yeah, so across many dimensions, and I can't put my finger on this, but I think the way internet changed the way we use technology, I think there's something that's going to happen as a result of this that's going to change work. And I don't know what it is, but it's like the internet for work, and I think work of the future isn't remote work. I think remote work is just creating some entryway into a whole new way of doing work, right? If I had to foreshadow a little bit, I think work is going to become more team-based. It's going to be projects of a duration, and teams are going to come together, get work done, and then hand things off. I think pay systems are going to be based on what value you're providing to that team. I think performance reviews are daily. Just having transparent feedback. And so I think old operating models are going to go out the window, and I think we're going to delayer. Because of that, we're not going to have companies with big layers and reporting structures. So I don't know. It's going to be totally different. So I'm happy, that we're moving towards that, because I do think it'll give us more freedom and flexibility. And the other thing I'm astounded by is as we start this journey, people are starting to work from anywhere, and I'm not sure employers know where all their people are. And you can put rules to say, we don't want you to go here, 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 and I get that. It sounds straining. Or you can allow flexibility, but it's creating a new need to track where people are working, because our old systems, of taxation and immigration are dependent upon knowing where the work is getting done, right? And so if someone decides to move to a new province and do work, now all of a sudden that employer has a presence in a new place that employee created, and that can muck things up, right? And so, I think that's just something to watch out for. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. Thank you very much for that enlightening response. So also, George, with the pandemic, everything's just super uncertain these days. Leaders have kind of lost a sense of direction. So in your opinion, how can leaders really strive to gain some clarity on their future business endeavors?
Yeah, that's a very good question. That's very important. The only certain thing in life is uncertainty. And I think you need to come out and say that. We look at nature. It's constantly changing. This moment just passed and never will come back. A river keeps moving and that water will never be in that place again. So we are in a constantly changing world and universe, and it brings uncertainty. There is no such thing as safety. And so if you lay the groundwork that people understand that it's an illusion to have things repetitive, the same, and certain, You then need to move forward in step two. It's really important to show confidence that you have a, a, a mission that you want to get done. You have an intention of what you want to get done, and show a path forward to do that. And give confidence in people that this is the path. And, things fall apart real fast, and we have new issues and new things coming in. It's really important to, not live on excuses. I think what's really important now is if its mission is a focus, and we're going to have issues and challenges, to take extreme ownership of the mission and to empower people to solve the challenges. And with that, to look at available resources, available assets, available relationships to solve. Because if we start to become crybabies about issues as leaders, then everyone else will just follow that lead and start crying about it, and then the mission gets lost. So, stay the path, take ownership, don't allow excuses, and put your ego at the door. I think it's really important. It's about your team. It's about your people. It's not about you. It's about me, not me. And I think that's the current state of we're in.
Absolutely. Firstly, I love the analogy that you provided us. And I thoroughly agree with you. I think this is also a really crucial time, and employees are willingly trying to unlearn and relearn many things and just upskill themselves. So I think we're seeing a surge in that as well.
Yeah, upskilling is, I just hung up with someone yesterday morning. They have a new technology that through informal mechanisms can scan all technologies out there and come up with a skills list that you have that is 95% accurate. And what's happening is, I think a lot of employers spend time doing a lot of training and upskilling, and they don't know where are we at. Like, I have 20,000 employees. What is the skill set in that? Did I advance the skill set? Before I get to what do I need for the future, because that's another set of skills, what that job needs in that country and that role in the future. You got to know what you have. And then there's this bridge, how am I going to get people there? And there's informal training, mentoring, assignments to do jobs and things like that. But the skills thing is here to stay. I think the more non-intrusive ways we can informally gather skills, the better. And then we can move forward. And what's really important for people, in addition, is to provide an upward trajectory for them. Everyone wants to grow. And with that, skill development is a path for growth.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you also, George, have had significant experience as being a thought leader in the whole HR sector. So how do you feel global leadership models are really developing digitally?
Yeah, so that's a real issue. How our global leadership model is developing digitally. I think either you have it or you don't. And if you don't, you need to surround yourself with digital acumen. And so let me share with you how I, as a global leader, developed digitally. We had a pilot program of mandatory digital mentors. And so every leader was assigned, it could be a millennial, but a digital mentor that was their shadow or their buddy. And as you were going through your job and you were assessing new products, assessing new services, assessing new technologies, assessing client solutions, you had mandatory digital mentors participating. The idea was, we don't have time to become digital. If you think you have time, you already missed it. It's just, so how could we infuse it right away, so it's sitting at the table? And obviously you can only imagine the folks that were invited to participate were, their energy, and if you use the word engagement, skyrocketed. we were thrilled because we were talking about things in the meeting we never otherwise would have talked about, So for me, getting, the diversity and inclusion of digital acumen as additive, to the journey is really critical.
That's great. That's great. And that's wonderful how you actually explain that to our audience. The whole digital along with diversity and inclusion. I think that is also becoming the need of the hour. And especially with many HR tech, including Zoom, people are really reaching out and everything's just being super accessible to everyone. So no one's really, everyone's being kept in the loop.
Yeah, and some of the benefits of COVID is, I think we put out, and I helped author 3 major articles, in March and April, real fast at the beginning of COVID. And pre-COVID, I never would have been able to put 3 thought leadership pieces together in a matter of a month, because we would be saying, I'll meet you in the office, and then, everyone's traveling and flying and spending time commuting. We didn't have any of that. We were on the computer with a repetitive pattern, and we got more done, in that month than we probably would have got done in 4 months, because we lost all that extraneous downtime. Now, caveat, we gotta be careful, because if you just pack everything in and try to keep doing more, obviously we'll burn out. So, we gotta find our time for downtime. But it was amazing. I said to myself, I've never had an opportunity to drive innovation, thought leadership, diverse perspectives, bringing people that otherwise, I think COVID has just elevated their career because of their ability to contribute, because of working off of Zoom, And then we found out pretty quick that, the 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. wasn't the schedule to do it, though. You have to, then, next month we had all these rules on no emails over the weekends, no meetings after noon on Friday, just to make sure we take care of ourselves.
Right, absolutely. The work-life balance is extremely crucial, right?
Yeah.
So just to kind of wrap this interview up, George, do you have any final sound bites you'd like to leave our audience with?
Yeah, I think the soundbite is, our current adversity will unleash the power of humans to do the extraordinary. I honestly think these pandemics we have, whether it's the equality pandemic, the COVID pandemic, are causing us to become more human and to accentuate the part of us that we want to exist, to have compassion and help other people. And through that, we need to be innovative on creating solutions. And when we work together, we're creating trust. We have competitors that never work together, sharing data in pharmaceutical industries. We have industries coming together to develop new breathing mechanisms to help people in hospitals. I think it's just amazing, what's happening. And I just think this is an awesome time for us to continue this journey. And adversity is igniting, the human elements we have to truly work together, to create happiness for each other.
Absolutely. Can't agree more with you on that. And it's love the last bit of positivity from your end. Absolutely. It's really essential for all of us to transform an adversity into opportunity and meaningfully and contribute for the betterment of all. Absolutely.
Yep, well said.
Yes. Thank you so much, George. It was an absolute honor talking to you, and I really appreciate you taking out the time to share all your views with us. And personally, it's been such a great learning experience for me. I'm sure our audience are greatly going to benefit from this as well. So thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you very much. It was my pleasure as well.
Thank
you.
you.
Be safe and take care.
Yes, you have a happy and healthy time ahead of you.
Thank you.
Hope to stay in touch in the future. Yes.
Likewise.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.